Hello kids, it is me again, back with another video. As you may or may not know, I let you guys vote on my next video, and a lot of you picked one type of video, and then I looked back and I saw that the poll was actually tied, so I guess I'll be doing both of these videos. So, as the title implies, we're going to be talking about my time as a dancer. Hello there, I'm Arin, and I do voiceovers. Starting at just $5 for 250 words, I will read your script in a natural way that is pleasing to the ear. Each additional 250 words, all the way up to 3,000, is just another $5. I will cut out all the bad bits and clean up the audio for free. For a fee, I can also proofread your script for you and provide commercial and full broadcast rights if you so desire. So, what are you waiting for? Let's work together. I was a dancer, and as the title also implies, I did not like it very much. Disclaimer before I start, when I say I used to be a dancer, your mind probably goes to professional or competition dance. I never did either of those things. I was never a professional dancer, and I never participated in dance competitions. I was purely in this kind of, I really don't know how to describe it, but what we did is for like a year, from about August to May, we would practice. At the beginning, we just do our normal dance skills, and then throughout the year, we'd work on a routine, and then every May, we would perform our routines that we had worked on in our recital. I started dance very, very early on. I actually started when I was 2 years old. So I actually don't really remember starting, and if you're wondering, wow, you started dancing when you were 2 years old, like that's kind of wacky. Apparently that's common enough that there is like, a 2-year-old class to be in, to like dance in. So I did dance for like a really, really long time, most of my life essentially, up until like at the point where I stopped doing it. I had been doing it for a very long time. It's basically like all I had known at that point. The types of dance that I did were ballet, basic ballet. We did tap, and we also did jazz. Eventually when I got to, I believe, the junior class, or the class before the junior class, we switched from ballet to lyrical, which, if you don't know what that is, I really don't know the difference. All I know is that we went from having to smile during recitals to not having to smile, which is great, because my cheeks would always be hurting after doing our routine, so that was great. Also, the shoes are different. Instead of like these ballet shoes, which I'll put on screen, we had like these weird lyrical shoes. They were barely shoes. I mean, they didn't even cover most of your foot, but these are what they look like. These are the ones that we had. Hopefully I'll be able to find them on Google Images so that it could be like an accurate representation. I was never on point, by the way. I want to say that. I was never on point because we had a point class, like a separate point class taught by somebody else at our studio, but you had to like try out for it, and I wasn't invested in dance enough to care about trying out for something that I didn't want to do in the first place. So along with doing the whole after school dance thing at a dance studio, I also did dance in school, which surprisingly I did end up liking that for some reason. So the thing about that is, when I was in middle school, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, instead of doing PE like gym, we could choose to do dance, and I think that option was only open to girls. Being that I am kind of lazy, I chose to do dance instead, and plus I already I'd already been in dance, so doing dance instead of PE was kind of like a logical jump to do. I've performed to quite a few songs during my time in dance. Some notable ones are Funky Town by, I don't even know who made that song. I'll put it up on screen once I find that. Achy Breaky Heart by good old Billy Ray Cyrus. That was a tap number. Funky Town was a jazz number. Let's see, I did dance for a grand total of about, I want to say 13 years. So a really long time. It was 12 years. I did dance for 12 years. And in 12 years of dancing, there's only one song that I ever liked like dancing to. And that song was I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. And that was for school. It wasn't like an after school thing. It was for like a school assembly. So it was during school. And we had made a routine for it, and we performed it during the assembly. It was so much fun because it's just a good song. Like, have you heard I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston? It's a straight up bop. I recommend you listen to it like right now. It'll make you want to dance, you know. It's just a great song. And like, I don't know why the songs we dance for like my studio were always so like freaking boring. I will say 2008, our theme for that year was Just Dance. It was themed after a song by Lady Gaga, and the senior class got to dance to that. But at that point, I was in the 3rd grade, so not in the senior class. What my studio would do as well is they would record all of the recitals and like sell them. It used to be on VHS. Oh, I remember there's this VHS I had as a kid that I would watch infrequently, and I remember because that one was actually pretty dope. I mean, you know, I wasn't able to do it because, I mean, around that time I would have been in the Babby class, so we don't get to do cool things. But I will always remember the first number from that VHS I had was the song These Boots Were Made for Walking. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but you know the song, These Boots Were Made for Walking. And they had like glow-in-the-dark boots that they danced with. That was so dope. Like, wow. Okay, anyways, I'm supposed to be talking about how I didn't like this, but whatever. So the whole problem that I had with doing dance is that, to me, it felt like I never had a choice in the matter. Because, like, I was kind of just shoved into it when I was 2 years old, and it was just kind of expected that that's what I did. Like, that's my activity. You know, my brother did baseball, and I do dance. And, you know, my mom had the little ballet shoes, car magnet on her car for the longest time. She had ballet shoes and a baseball. You know, she's one of those moms. And I was never really enthusiastic about dance just to begin with. I know I'm talking a lot about performing. I did like performing a whole lot. The only high points of doing dance for me were our recitals, where we got to like perform in front of people. And, you know, I think that was really valuable for me to have, because now, as an adult, I don't have any kind of fears or qualms about speaking to, I guess, audiences. Like, public speaking has never been a thing for me that was, like, difficult to do. So I guess in that aspect it worked out. But, I mean, the recitals are really the only thing I liked, and that's, like, one day out of an entire year of, like, dance practice. Like I said, I was just never really enthusiastic about it, and it was just something that I felt like I was forced to do. Frequently, I would bring up not wanting to do it anymore, and my mom would be like, no, you have to do this. Like, what else are you gonna do? That's what she would say, like, what else are you gonna do? I guess she had a point. Like, there weren't a whole lot of after-school activities for me to do. It was like a middle schooler and high schooler, I guess, but I would have found something. It's not like I would have gotten into trouble. Like, I just didn't want to go to dance anymore. I did say that I liked school more than I liked after-school dance. And the reason for that is just, like, you know, it kind of broke up the monotony of, you know, sitting in class and listening to things. You know, I got to put on my shoes and, like, dance, I guess. And also, there's an added benefit of, like, being around people that I knew better. Because, like, some of my classmates were in my dance studio. But I will say, another thing, it's just one of those things, it's like a thing in this town where things are needlessly segregated. So I went to, for middle through high school, I went to an all-black school. But in elementary school, I went to an integrated school. My dance studio is actually not far from elementary school. That studio had the reputation of being the white people studio. So, you know, a lot of the time, I didn't go to school with the people that I went to dance with, so I didn't really know them as well. So I think I liked being in dance in school better because I like knew everybody, and because, I don't know, we got to do a whole lot more. You know, we like learned dance type stuff. We did ballet and tap in school. We had those god-awful, the shiny black ones. Just aesthetically, those tap shoes are like the worst. Like, when we got to switch over for my studio stuff, when we got to switch over to like the tan leather tap shoes, I was so relieved, because those shiny black tap shoes are the worst thing on this planet. Some things that, you know, we did in the school version of dance, the I Want to Dance with Somebody performance, love that. Great, just fantastic, just so much fun. In the 6th grade, our school put on a version of Cats. Yes, Cats the musical. It wasn't really a musical because it was just our dance department. We had a choir department, but they weren't involved, and none of the schools that I went to had any kind of theater department, so that wasn't involved either. But we had to like try out for the parts. Oh, what did I try out for? I don't think I tried out for Mr. Mistopheles. I know I tried out for Victoria, and I definitely didn't get it because I couldn't do a split. I mean, I could never do a split, but I had to do a split for the tryout thing. I couldn't do one. I did end up getting the part. I can't remember what exactly I tried out for aside from Victoria, and I think maybe Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. Either one. I tried out for that one. I can't really remember. But what I ended up getting was being one of the background dancers for Jenny Any Dots. We were called Kittens, and that was a tap thing. I wasn't particularly enthused about it, but the fact that I got any significant kind of part was pretty cool. I remember that night we did it for school, like during school, and then we did it after school as like an after school performance. And I remember our art teacher that we had at the school painted all of our faces like cats. And I remember the face paint smelled atrocious. It smelled like old eggs, and like it was just felt bad, like having my face be painted and having it smell so terrible. Goodness gracious, it was bad. That was a nice instance. But you know, like I said, I just like performing over just like practicing, I guess. Eventually, when I got into late middle, early high school, I started asking my mom, hey, I don't really want to do dance anymore. And she's like, what else are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And she never really let me stop doing dance until one year. I believe this was my 10th grade year. At the time, my mom had a job where periodically she would have to go out of town for like a week, and so it was just me and my dad at home. And so my dad is a lot more chill with these kinds of things. Like, he is a more not really do what you want, but just, you know, he wasn't gonna make me do it if I didn't want to do it. So I got really upset that I had to endure dance another year, because also, I left this part out, but at this point I was in the junior class, right? And because the way it worked is that it was separated by grade level, first by age, because you know, you had like 2-year-olds there, and then by grade level, and then you had the junior and senior class, and there's also an adult class, just for like adults. They were also in the recitals too. And then there was point as well, and that's kind of how it was all broken down. And so I was in the junior class, and the way it used to work before that year was that eventually, you know, if you were deemed good enough to leave the junior class, you move on to the senior class. And the senior classes got the good performances during recital. Like, they got the theme songs. The senior class got to dance to Just Dance by Lady Gaga in '08, because you know, that's like the theme song, you know, their stuff is usually always polished, I guess, because you know, it's a senior class, you have senior class, or I guess more senior skills. The way that it worked now though was that you have to audition to get into the senior class. And at this point, I believe I'd been in the junior class for like 2 years. And so I really didn't want to audition to get in the senior class because I just didn't care at all about it. I just thought, you know, being in the junior class for like 3 years in a row, that's like kind of lame. And also, it got to a certain point where I stopped caring about dance so much that I stopped bothering to learn the girls' names who didn't go to school with me and who weren't there with me for like a long time. So like some of the newer ones who were in, you know, my grade level and then in the junior class, like I legit didn't know their names because I didn't bother to learn them, because really what I did when I went there is just like did what we were supposed to do, counted down the time on my watch, because I wore a watch regularly at the time. I counted down the time until it was time to go home, and then I went home rejoicing that I wouldn't have to be in dance anymore for at least a week. So, you know, that's kind of how it went for me. And so I thought, man, I don't think I can like keep doing this considering I care so little about it that I don't want to do these things. And the opportunity presented itself. My mom went out of town the week that dance was supposed to start, and so I convinced my dad to let me not go. And he said, oh, you know, your mom, she's gonna be mad. I'm like, I don't care. I don't have to do this anymore. I am so happy. You know, I legit felt happy after that. And, you know, it was a little bittersweet considering that it was something that I had done for literally most of my life, and then I just like stopped. But at the same time, I never wanted to do it. I wouldn't end up bringing my class down through me not caring about it, because the thing about dance is that I never liked doing it, right? but I also didn't want to not do it right. So, I would learn all of the moves and the steps and everything like that while we were in class, but I've never practiced outside of class. I guess that was enough for me because I could still kind of catch on to it every single class that we had. So I didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. Our teacher would always encourage us to, get your tap shoes and go in the kitchen and practice these steps. And I'm like, I'm so not doing that. No. I already have to deal with homework at school and my mom hounding me about doing all of that, and no thanks. I'm not adding trying to learn my steps outside of class on top of everything else I'm doing. That's not happening. So I didn't do that. Well, that's how I was able to quit. My mom, she was predictably not very happy about it, especially considering she had already paid the $25 for I guess it's the sign up fee or whatever. Also, I should mention, dance wasn't free. It cost money. You had to pay, I forgot how much it was, but it was not an insignificant amount of money every month. And then, of course, we had the sign-up fee, that was $25, and then we had to pay for costumes when that came around. And so, realistically, my parents could have saved money by not making me do this thing that I didn't want to do. And I brought this up to my mom. It's you could save money by just letting me not do dance. And she's like, no, I don't care, you're doing it. My word is law, you're doing it. During my time in dance, I can't even say that I made any lasting friendships. I guess I'm coordinated. I know my 8 counts. I can do my 8 counts, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, okay, I will say this. I do have a decent sense for rhythm, and that does kind of come in handy with especially editing to music. I feel you gotta have an ear for that kind of thing, and I do. So that kind of helped out. They say, I don't know who says this, but they say doing ballet makes you, more coordinated, but I'm constantly running into things. I'm just I'm not graceful. I'm not a graceful person, but it didn't make me, graceful and swan-like or anything like that. So that's kind of bust. I don't really know what it did for me. If anything, it might have ended up being to my detriment, because a lot of the girls, who were, really good at ballet and just dance in general were all super thin. And I was, at that point in time, I was starting to get boobas, and none of them were, and I was man, this is a little weird. Why am I a shape now? and they aren't. I feel if I had kept going, my fragile high schooler mind might have taken it down a dark route. Just little seeds were beginning to be planted. None of them took root, thankfully, but would it have? I don't know. Do I regret quitting dance? No, I don't. If presented with the opportunity again, I would do it again. It's not something that I like doing. It's not something that I ever wanted to do. I'm sure my mom asked me when I was 2 years old, hey, do you wanna be in dance? And I probably said yes, but I also have zero memories of being 2 years old, and also people can change their minds about things. That's a thing that happens. So did I actually like dancing? I think my main qualm with our dance class is that I was putting in effort while I was in class, enough to not get yelled at by my dance instructor. Some people weren't giving it 100%, were constantly getting reprimanded. Oh, and I remember closer to the end, when I ended, the amount that we were getting yelled at was increasing, and I started to not like getting yelled at. Could you imagine not liking getting yelled at? Especially when whatever we're getting yelled at for isn't my fault. Even if the yelling isn't directed towards me, if I'm in a room and someone is yelling, that's gonna make me uncomfortable. It's gonna make me nervous. So why would I want to withstand that anymore? And it just felt as time was going on, it was getting worse and worse, and I just didn't want to be around for that. All the getting yelled at. So the only aspect of dance that I liked, as stated before, was performing, because it was always such a fun night. You got to put makeup on and put on my costumes and dance, and it was great. And it also signified the end of that period. The recital was the last thing that we did that year, and that meant that during the summer I wouldn't have to do dance class anymore, and that was great. Not having to go to class every week from I don't know, anywhere from 3-ish to like 4, that's when it started. To like 6-ish to 7 is when it ended. And then I would come home, be tired, go to bed, and then wake up and have to go to school again. Like, okay, when I was in elementary school, I liked going to school, but you know, middle school, like, didn't. That was just not something that I enjoyed doing. Do I like dancing, period? I mean, if I hear a bop, I'm gonna start moving to it. It's like an involuntary reaction for me. But like structured, choreographed dances and it's not really my thing. Listen, if I'm listening to music and I'm really feeling it, yeah, I'm gonna start moving. But that's nothing like dance classes, you know? Because at least with that, I'm choosing what music I listen to instead of Billy Ray Cyrus. Like, come on. I guess that's why I like the I Wanna Dance with Somebody performance so much, because it's just a bop. You want to dance to it. It makes me want to dance. And these other songs, I mean, they were fine for the time, I guess, but they just weren't, I don't know, I just never liked the music that was chosen. Would I start dancing again? I think I answered this one, but not. I know they have dance classes for adults, but that's, no, I'd be using my time so much better than that. Like, I have an appreciation for dance, like, you know, I've been to ballet performances with my school dance class, and I always liked those. They were like fun to me, so I have an appreciation for it. I don't quite understand it. Like some interpretive dance, like especially the stuff they were doing at my university, I didn't really get it. And oh, that's so weird too, because the dance they were doing at my school, since it was a Christian school, they were supposed to be dancing in like a God-honoring way, I guess. But it's just like, you know, it's just a lot of movements, a lot of this is going on, you know, in that kind of dance, and it's just like, okay. There's one, I guess, hip-hop style dance performance that they did at chapel one time at my school, and that was pretty cool. But, I mean, all of this, I don't particularly care for, I don't really care for that. It's just like, okay, cool. What am I supposed to be getting out of that? I really don't know. But like, you know, traditional ballet stuff, always cool for me. I will say, a lot of my dislike for dance really stems not from the fact that I don't like dance itself. If there's one thing to take away from this video, it's that if you force me to do something, I'm not gonna like doing it. And this comes up again in another big thing in my life that I'll probably end up making a video on, but making me do something because you think it's good for me, it's like, I'm only gonna end up resenting that thing, and like, that's not good for anyone, especially considering it's like a group activity, and it can end up being the detriment of everyone else. And it's like, why are you making me do things? I'm telling you that I don't enjoy this thing, and yet you're still making me do it, and that's what made me dislike it even more. So I think that's where my dislike of dance comes from. You know, if I had made the informed decision when I was, I don't know, in elementary school, seeing that my classmates were in dance, and if I was drawn to that, and if I actually wanted to do it, and I did it, then I might have actually enjoyed it, because it would have come from a place of passion and joy, but really it just felt like a chore because I wasn't ever given a choice. It's like doing the dishes, you know, I was always just made to do it. It felt like a chore, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And that's really the real reason that I ended up not liking dance as much, you know, because, and I guess that is reflected in the school version too, because I chose to do dance in school and I ended up liking it more. And if at any point I didn't want to do dance in school anymore, the next year I could just switch to PE, but I actually enjoyed it, so I kept doing it. You know, it's that kind of thing. So parents, if you have a little daughter and you're wondering what to put her in as like an activity so that you can drink wine during the day, maybe listen to her. I don't know. That's an option. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me. Follow me on Twitter, donate to my Ko-fi. I stream just about every week now, so if you're interested in that, subscribe to me here. I usually don't tell you to subscribe. I let you make that decision. But if you want to catch my streams every week and be notified of them, then really your only option is to subscribe. So again, your choice. Well, that's gonna be it for me for today. and I'm going to go not dance.